up, guys? This is Weslee Weighs In. I'm Wesley Parker.
And I'm Bailey Parker.
And today we have Roberto Kaelin, and right here with us, man. I'm super excited. He's been training martial arts since he was 9 years old, a 4th degree BJJ black belt, 1st degree black belt in judo, a 1st degree black belt in karate, and also he's training Kung Fu, Muay Thai, Aikido, Kendo, and Iaido.
This is the art of drawing the sword.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm familiar with a few of those, but not all of them.
Right.
But no, I definitely have to hear more about those for sure. Super excited, guys, to have Roberto on here. I've been looking forward to this for a while. This is super, super cool. So let's kind of just like dive into it. Like, I'm real interested to, I kind of know a little bit. We've talked a little bit about it, but I'm kind of curious about like the origin story of Roberto. So like you started at 9. So how did you find jiu-jitsu, and what was it like growing up in Peru, correct?
Yeah.
Once you found jiu-jitsu and how that kind of transformed?
Well, in the 1980s, Peru was like a war zone. We have the terrorist group, Sendero Luminoso, which is the Shining Path. So, we had like curfews at night. Like you couldn't leave your house after 10 p.m. until 5, and you could hear like the machine guns at night.
Wow.
The terrorists would bomb the high tension towers. So I remember doing my homework by candlelight.
Wow.
I guess you would just lose electricity.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it was like Beirut, But yeah, that was Peru in the 80s. But if you go to Peru now, the younger generation have no clue how it was. It's so different now. It's like, modernized. They have McDonald's now.
Come a long ways.
We didn't have McDonald's then.
Ooh, that placed them on the map, McDonald's.
But I was lucky enough that my parents had money. So they would take me to Disney World, and I was in American school. That's why I learned English.
Really?
Yeah. So I got to go to Disney World. I got McDonald's. Right? I got McDonald's. But still, I had to live in that atmosphere, which was normalized for us guys. But then when I became like 9 years old, 9-ish, I got a little bit fat. Right? I got a little bit fat. So my mom said, no, you got to do something to lose the gut. And I hated it. I just wanted to play my Nintendo, right? So.
So you were a gamer as a kid too?
Well, who wasn't? So I was playing my Ninja Turtles on my Nintendo, and that's what I want to do, right? So I had a chauffeur back then. So my mom would enroll me. She told me, what do you want to do? So one of my cousins was doing karate. So I said, okay, karate, whatever, right? Because I didn't like soccer. And that was like the primary thing there. So she put me in karate. And I hated it because I was lazy and I didn't want to exercise, right? So like my chauffeur would take me there, and my mom had instructed him to like grab me and take me on his shoulder and get me in the dojo. Right? And I would kick and scream at her. So I saved my allowances, and I talked to the guy and says, listen, man, I'm gonna bribe you, bro.
That's hilarious.
I'm gonna bribe you, man. Here's money. He's like, all right, fine, right? He's like, yeah, no problem. I'll take the money. But the problem is, if your mom sees that your gi is clean after you come back, she's gonna fire me. So he's very smart, right? So he told me, listen, how about this? We go to this park that is behind the dojo, and you run laps, right? You run laps so your gi is all like sweaty, and then you just roll on the ground a little bit so it gets dirty, right? And then it'll be cool. So yeah, I was fine. So I started running laps, and I was like, dude, this is harder than the karate, man.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, this is harder.
Tricking me.
And I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it. No.
Oh my
And I told the guy, take me to karate. Take me to the stupid karate. I'll save my money on this. So I started going to karate, and I started getting stronger. And I liked it. Suddenly I liked it because I was good at it. So like when I started fighting the kumite, the free fighting, I was good at the fighting. So and I was awful at soccer. And in Peru, if you're bad at soccer, man, just
Don't have a chance.
it's over. Yeah. It's over. But I was good at something finally, and then my mom would punish me by restricting me from the karate. So once I got bad grades all the time. So I got bad grades, and my mom told me, okay, like I was on the phone, and she's like, where's your report card? And then she saw my report card, and she told me, no way, you're not going to karate today. So I got my bike, and I drove my bike all the way, like from one side of Lima to the other, like an hour driving my bike. When I came back, she had shut the door, and I had to sleep outside.
Oh my goodness.
in the 80s, man. So, yeah, dude.
It's different back then, right?
But she didn't restrict me anymore because she knew I was just going to rebel. So, and after that, and that was with my sensei Guayo Salas, and the guy's like a truck, man, like muscle. So, yeah, and he was the perfect build for Shotokan karate. That karate is like a straight line. So they believe on the one punch kill, and the shorter distance between 2 points is straight line. All right, so they advance like a truck. So if you're skinny and frail, that's not for you because you're gonna go like this and bounce back, right? But this guy like a truck, so when he went through, right? So that was really good for him. But then the UFC hit, right? So man, I saw Royce Gracie fight these dudes, and I was like, in the ground and everything. I was like, this is crazy. I gotta do this.
How old were you?
I was like 14.
Okay.
And I had gotten my black belt in karate. I just got it.
Okay.
So, man, I had to do this stuff, right? So in Lima, there's the Japanese Cultural Center. It's in this district of San Felipe. It's this big building where all the Japanese people go, to celebrate. But in the basement of this big building, you go down the stairs, and it's like a big underground coliseum. Right? And they separate it like pieces. They're all mats. One is for judo, one is for karate, one is for aikido, the other one's for kendo. And all the classes go simultaneously. So you can like go to one class, it's over, and you jump to the other one. And then you jump to the other one.
Oh, wow.
How long are the classes?
Like an hour each.
Like an hour each, like a typical class.
Yes,
That's
and they were ongoing. So I would just jump from one to another and do each one. So what I would do, like after class, I would like in high school, in middle school, ending middle school, I would go, 14, yeah, it was like more or less. I would go from school in the bus. I would stop by the arcade.
Get his gaming fix.
Play Street Fighter. Play Street Fighter there with a crowd. Play Street Fighter. 30 minutes of that. Then I would go to the Japanese Cultural Center and train all the way till like 9:30, and sometimes 9:45, and then I was out and back to my house. And
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was at 14.
That was 14. All the way till I was 17 and a half, almost 18, and that's when I came here for college.
Did you find, like, when you were doing that you were leaning towards one particular martial arts that you kind of
judo
preferred?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't miss the judo class because of the Royce Gracie thing, because they have ground. We had a jiu-jitsu instructor in Peru, but he was in a kind of crappy area, so I wouldn't go there. So I wouldn't go. So I would go to the better area.
Yeah.
And I thought judo and jiu-jitsu were the same stuff because the same arm bars and the same chokes. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
But still, it was grappling. But yeah, I spent all my time there, and that's where I started growing up with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's really cool. So it was pretty much Royce Gracie that is what sets you on this track in UFC?
Before Royce Gracie, he was a revolutionary. He revolutionized the martial arts. Before Royce Gracie, we in the martial arts believed all the stupid stories of flying Chinese guys, the master with the long eyebrows and the long beard, and we totally believed the lies, right? Because no one had to prove anything.
Yeah.
They would tell you about the death touch and you believed it, They told you, this is too dangerous for competition, Never use this, right? So it's like, and stuff that would get you killed in the street, right? Like, but when Royce Gracie came around, he changed everything, because now you would see the different type of arts, the traditional arts, being proven against each other. And you will see it was all myth. It was lies. Like for example, they had a ninja guy in one of the UFCs against Pat Smith, a kickboxer, and the kickboxer wrecked him. And I was sure the ninja guy was gonna throw a puff of smoke and disappear and appear behind, teleport behind him or something. No, man, he got his face bashed in. Yeah. And I was marveling at that. It's all the movies, because every Saturday they had the Kung Fu Theater in Lima, and I wouldn't miss it. So they would pass out the 36th Chamber of Shaolin and all these movies, and I would not miss it. All the Van Damme movies, right. All that stuff, and of course you believe it as a kid,
Yeah.
But when you see an action that is so bunk, it's like it's a revelation.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific memory of when you first saw any UFC fight? Like, do you remember where you were, like what you were doing, and or just the first time you realized like, I want to do this. This is awesome.
Well, I was subscribed to Black Belt magazine. So in the inserts, they had not the propaganda, advertisement. The advertisement for UFC. So I ordered the VHS tapes, not to Peru, but to someone new in the States. And when I went for vacation, I got them. And I had them VHS. And I watched, I had a stack of them. And I watched them, it was amazing. That's my entry to it. And then I got the Brazilian Valetudos, and then the world tournaments of jiu-jitsu in the mats like ours, the green and yellow back in the day.
Yes, I know. Tracy just told us about that when we did the podcast with her.
Right,
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Were
that's
they
a classic
puzzle
mats.
style mats, like the puzzle type, or did they have a
They
subfloor?
were kind of like this, but
Yeah.
no, the colors were yellow and green.
Yeah.
That was how it was back in the day. Like when Hoyler was young, I used to fight and all that. Yeah, like the classics. You know?
Interesting.
I used to watch that as a kid. Yeah, and I would marvel at that. Yeah.
So that takes us to you see hoist, and that makes you want to come to the States, right? Once you
Right.
see hoist.
Yeah.
So once you decide you want to come to the States,
Yes.
then what kind of happens after that? You research who's over here and like.
Well, I
Well, you
researched
said
over-
you came for college too. So
Well,
was
that
that
was-
driving it, or was
that
it
was the
kind of
hook.
like?
That was the hook.
It was like when Weslee said he
Yeah.
moved to my hometown to go to college.
Right, right,
but
right. Yeah,
he
that
went
was
to a
yeah.
community college. It was because I lived there.
So no, I wanted to. So since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a master in the art. I didn't want to just be a fighter. For example, I really like the Ninja Turtles, right? And everyone wants to be the Ninja Turtle. Everyone has like the Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, and the other guy, Leonardo,
I wanted
right?
to be Master Splinter.
I wanted to be Master Splinter.
I love that.
But why? Because my reasoning, all right? My reasoning was this. Leonardo is a master of the sword. Michelangelo of the nunchakus, Raphael of the sai, and Donatello of the bow. They all master of one thing. But who taught them? All right? Master Splinter is a master of all. All right? So I wanted to, greedy, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to
love
be
that,
True
though.
martial
man.
artist, though. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So, he's the mastermind that controls all styles, not just one. So he's not one-dimensional, so he controls all. So he can move in defense or attack in all planes, not just in one little thing. So yeah, I wanted to be the rat.
Yeah, I mean, that's super cool though. So once you moved to the States, and it wasn't exactly because of college, that was kind of the hook.
Right, so the thing is I wanted to learn jiu-jitsu from a real master, right? A real master. So back in the day, like I would go to the internet. We got the internet in my high school lab, like computer lab, and I would research there. And we only have one forum. It was Musel's forum from Houston, a school in Houston, and the guy had a forum where they discussed MMA, jiu-jitsu, and so
it's like Reddit.
Oh yeah.
yeah, but it was like those
Back in
old
the
ones.
day,
Yeah,
okay.
it was like red. It was red with like a white font. It was awful. Right?
And it's
Okay.
still in Peru, right?
I was still in Lima.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Lima. So I researched who was here, and not many black belts were here. But one attracted my eye was Carlos Machado, and he was in Texas. So I saw clips, but you have to like wait for like an hour for the clip to log. Just to see a picture was like,
yes.
Yeah.
you have to turn that sound on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dial up.
The dial-up sound.
Yeah. Horrible.
But I managed to like sit there for like an hour and get the clips, and he would talk and like do his moves, and I was like, man, this is amazing, this dude, and he was a good-looking dude, so I wanted to be like him, because the other guys look like like gorilla, angry, but this guy looked like a superhero.
Yeah.
Right. So and I was like 16, 17. I wanted to be him. Right? So I said, this guy, dude, like, so I told my mom, hey, what I want to do is I want to, continue my martial arts. And she's like, if you do martial arts, you're gonna die of starvation. Nobody makes money of that. You're gonna be a doctor, a lawyer, or an architect. So man, I'm like, and she's like, you can go anywhere in the world you want. Okay, I'm like, okay, Brazil, no way, because you're gonna go do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Okay, I'm like, okay, Japan, right? No Japan, because I was just thinking, okay, whatever, I'll do judo. No, so I go, well, how about Texas? Because I talked to my counselor about Texas and everything, and she's like, sure, because I got accepted to a university because I sent my, my acceptance stuff, and they accepted me. And that's the story. I came here, and the first day I arrived in the airport with my suitcases. The orientation wasn't ready in the university, so I went to a motel and parked my baggage called the Carlos School and went the same day to train.
Oh my
Really?
goodness.
Same day, yeah. And it was in the film studio where they were filming a Texas Walker Ranger.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I met Chuck Norris. Of course, he doesn't remember. I was just a little twerp.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember, but I remember him.
Yeah, of course.
And we trained there until I don't know what happened. That we had to move. We moved to a squash court, which was awful. In some gym. And then we moved to the hole in the wall school where all the magic happened.
Really?
Yeah. So leading, you moved to Carlos. And what's the story about from your white belt to blue belt to what happened there? Because we kind of talked about this a while
Yes.
back.
Yes. The problem was that I didn't have a car. So I would go, Carlos is Farmers Branch, and I was in the dorms in Irving, the University of Dallas in Irving. No UTD, UD, University of Dallas. And so I would spend all my money on taxis. Because, or if someone could like give me a lift. But back then, nobody wanted to take me.
Right.
So I either had to like pay for gas money or beg, and I hated begging.
Yeah.
So I ran out of taxi money. So I told my mom, hey, I need a car. She's like, you don't even know how to drive. And that was true. I didn't know how to drive.
And how old are we at now? Like where we're at now? You're in a university.
I'm still 18. I just turned 18.
Not even 20s yet. Okay.
No, it was like 3 months into it, I lost all my money in taxis. I spent all money in taxis.
That sucks.
It goes
Yeah.
fast. Yeah.
And then, so I looked in the yellow pages, because it's the only way to find a school near me, and I found Moeller. So I went to Allen Moeller, because he was right there in Las Colinas, like close to Las Colinas. It's in Irving. And I stayed with him until I was a blue belt, and that's when I learned to drive and finally got my Honda Civic.
Yeah.
As soon as I got my Honda Civic, I sped up to Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the story. Of course, Moeller taught me a lot.
Yeah.
But my sights were set on the master. You know?
For
Yeah.
sure.
I wanted to be with the master. And as soon as I had the wheels, bye, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've gotten to meet Carlos, and what he's like now. But what was Carlos like when you first met him in those early days? Like, how accepting was he to a brand new guy? I mean, I guess not really brand. You probably brought a lot to the gym with all your experience. So I'm curious, like, what was he like back then?
Well, I was
when you came in?
like one of the younger guys.
Yeah.
So he looked at me like a pet. Yeah. And in the mornings, which is funny too, because in the mornings I would go to Dallas Judo to train with Vince Tamura. So I would go train in the mornings with Vince and at night with Carlos.
Okay.
And in the morning, they were like the black belts were also like very like older men, like over 40, most of them, and they also took me in like a pet. And so they would all teach me their tricks because I was just like a kid, And same with Carlos. So Carlos, what he did was like when he had private lessons, he would use me as his uke, as his dummy. And I was happy because his privates were like $350 an hour, so I could just leech techniques, right? I didn't mind like being folded into,
Right.
I just leached the techniques, and he would like go over every detail of the guys, and I was just listening, and then he would roll with the guy, and I would watch Carlos what he did, and what he didn't teach that he did, He had like secret moves, and I would like watch him. Like he would chase the hip and stuff, things that he wouldn't teach back then. He teaches them now, but back then he wouldn't really teach that. And I would watch him. So yeah, I would like dissect his game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that was intentional by Carlos to like kind of hold some stuff tight close to him?
I don't know, because right now he's an open book. He teaches every single detail.
Yeah.
But back then he didn't. He taught a lot, obviously, but there's like some details that he only did that he wouldn't really go over. But I like checked it and looked at him, and I picked him up. And now he just teaches freely, so no one has to do that anymore.
Yeah. So once you met Carlos and you started training, you have your blue belt, and you start climbing the ranks. Like, did you come across any interesting characters, or are there any names that
everyone
might
was
know?
an interesting character?
Yeah.
But it was like
Back then, it's probably a lot different. Than
it was like
now.
the far west of jiu-jitsu back then.
Yeah.
There was a lot of ego involved.
Yeah.
You know the quote of "leave your ego at the door." No one followed that.
Yeah. They brought it all the way to the mat.
No one followed that. It was just like, a bumper sticker because no one followed it. Everyone had the ego the size of a mountain.
Interesting.
Every day was a tournament. There was a freaking ladder that everyone was aware of. And if they beat you, they would brag. So every day, like, I remember driving there in my little Honda Civic and like pounding Diet Cokes just to get pumped up because it was going to be a war that day, every day, right? So yeah, and when you got there, it was war. They will grab you and everyone had one speed. There was no light rolling at all. That was a myth. People throw against the wall, there are freaking holes in the wall. Man, the door was unhinged. The back door, people rolled out into the street.
That's wild. It's the Wild West.
Yeah, we didn't have air conditioners. So we put a big fan and people like crash into the fan, into the street and roll out. And they kept going because no one could lose. Yeah, so crazy stuff. And poor Carlos, because he's non-confrontational, man, he had to like deal with these freaking animals. So yeah. And, but that's not really a good thing. I mean, yeah, it's very gung-ho and very extreme, but the problem is that since you feel that you cannot lose, you like restrict yourself to the game that works.
Right.
For example, I would like fight close guard because I'm strong at that, but I would resist opening it because if I open, then the guy was going to crush me.
Yeah.
So that's not very good because the match should be at your laboratory where you can lose.
Yeah.
You can try new things. Okay, they passed. Okay, now work your defense. But these guys would pass and then crush you with their freaking elbows on the face to make a point.
Yeah.
So it was like that. So, but that kept as time went on, that got better.
Yeah. Do you feel like that kind of culture and mentality? I'm sure it exists with some people in some places now, but do you feel like that mentality has changed?
Yes, it has evolved. Just like jiu-jitsu has evolved, the mentality has evolved. It's like when you see like boxing or kickboxing, people from the stands scream like "kill him," kill him. If you go to a tournament in jiu-jitsu and you scream "kill him," everyone's gonna jump and you say, "What's your problem?" So yeah, but back then it was the kill him mentality.
Yeah.
But now
so
it's not.
interesting.
Yeah, now it's more sport oriented and more respectful. Yeah.
We've talked about that, about the difference that we see in jiu-jitsu and like the community and the culture of it versus other sports. So that's really interesting that it like didn't necessarily used to be that way.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a big drawing factor for me from boxing is the culture of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So I'm glad that it's changed because, like you said, boxing is a lot like that. It's like kill or be killed in the ring. It's still like that.
But it was like that back then.
Yeah, for jiu-jitsu.
But it was not good because it made you a one-tracked mind fighter. You didn't open yourself to try new things.
Yeah.
So it's like, for example, I remember when my game is the close guard. And I remember I was fighting this huge freaking beast. And he was on my close guard and I was attacking. And Carlos ran into me and he looked at me and said, "Open your guard." And I looked at him and said, "Sí, profesor." Like, "Yes, professor."
Yeah.
And I didn't open it. And he said, "Open your guard." And I said, "Sí, profesor." I stared at him and I didn't open my guard. And he just like threw his arms up and walked off. And I was thinking, if I open my guard, this freaking animal is just gonna bum rush me and crush me, right? So yeah, you're not here, man. You're not here. Because he was going insane. He was like flailing, He was a bald dude, so his like bald, sweaty head was right on my face. He was going berserk. I was not gonna open my guard. So yeah, and then I submitted him later because I did a battle of attrition. I remember. So I tired him out, and then I started attacking. And then Carlos came up to me and he told me, "I see your style. You wear them down and then attack them. That's your strategy." And I went, yes, like I was such a genius. But in my head, I was just surviving. I was just freaking surviving, and then I would get lucky.
That is what I'm doing. It's very intentional.
So back then, were you like one of the smaller guys?
Yes, I was the lightest of the advanced guys.
Okay.
And I was fighting.
That makes sense. That's why.
Like you.
I know. His close guard is amazing.
You feel my
it
pain.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to resort to it, and you feel my pain. Huh?
Yeah, I do big time. Yeah. Speaking, you kind of touched on the battle of attrition. Like, do you have any other philosophies that you've picked up through your entire career of all martial arts that you kind of stick by? Like anything that is kind of like just how you view your style and how you play the game of jiu-jitsu? Any other philosophies? Battle of attrition is one.
Battle of attrition, yes.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep moving. And when you're in your worst position, move the most. It's not time to take a nap.
Yeah.
Because while you're taking a nap, they're planning. And they're advancing. See? And while you're moving, they're consolidating. And while they're consolidating, they're not submitting you. So it's when you stop moving, they consolidate and then they go to submission. So yeah, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Keep your arms tight, your legs tight, but move, man. Don't fall asleep. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
And for that, you gotta have good cardio. So train hard. Don't be lazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tracy mentioned, in the last podcast about how that's one thing that you talk about is your diet, your how good is your cardio, are you lifting, different stuff like that. So I'm sure all that plays into your game, right?
Yeah,
you take care of yourself really well.
Yes. Because I know I'm gonna pay for it on the mat.
Yeah.
If I don't do my aerobics after class, because after class when you guys leave, I put my TV and I do my HIIT training.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sometimes before we leave.
Yeah. So I'm like jumping there up and down with girls in bikinis, but that's fine.
I've told the kids they should come join you sometime.
Yeah, I'm jumping up and down.
Fun.
But it's worth it. It's worth it because next time when I need to move, I'll just spring up.
Yeah.
If I don't do that, I'll just become heavy and sluggish. And that's not the way to go.
Yeah, I've always thought it was crazy. You do all these rounds, you roll with everybody in here. You're not taking rest rounds, and then you do your entire aerobics at the end. I'm like, and then sometimes you tell me you lifted before you came in. I'm like, dang, how are you? Are you not sore as can be?
Well, I lift three days a week and do my aerobics the other days.
Yeah.
Well, it's HIIT training. It's not aerobics.
Well, I know.
I call it aerobics because of the girls that do it, but on the TV. But it's not really.
It's really HIIT. Yeah, and I've seen it over there. It's it's definitely HIIT.
Yeah.
HIIT workout. But no, that's hilarious and really cool though. So when you move from blue to purple to brown, and you're moving through the ranks, is there anything that you took from? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot. Like anything in particular that you took from Carlos, like as you moved through the ranks that maybe you didn't pick up on as a blue and white belt, but it started to become clear at purple and brown that you hadn't quite seen at the earlier ranks?
Well, things started coming together. For chasing the hip, moving when I'm resting instead of resting, move.
Yeah.
Details, everything started clicking in. It's like you've seen the Matrix, right? You've seen the Matrix. It's like when Neo suddenly sees the code.
Yeah.
So it just comes together at once. It's not like you start learning the moves, you listen to your instructor, everything. But there's a certain moment where everything just clicks together, and you see the code, and then you start moving, and it's like it just happens like magic. So that's why I tell my students when they start, and for example, the white belts, and they're all cumbersome, and they're losing heart because it's they're not used to it. And I tell them just wait 6 months. And they'll click together. It's like when you were learning to ride a bike. You were like, wobbly. You're wobbly, and maybe your parents or whoever was pushing you, right? Maybe. So they were pushing, but there's a point where they let go, and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
And you just went, and you learned to ride a bike. It just clicked at once, and you'll never forget. So it's like that. It's just a moment of realization. Yeah, it just dawns on you.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Kind of makes me think of me and Billy went to an open mat on Sunday and we were talking to somebody, and there's this phrase, we've never heard of it. I think you looked it up.
Oh, I did.
Have you ever heard of invisible jiu-jitsu?
Invisible. I've heard the term.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I was just wondering if there is anybody else that we talked to that. Do you remember what? It's kind of like how you described it, but maybe at like a black belt level. I don't know.
I think that you need to step away when you go from white to brown. You're stuck in the forms, right? Like, I should put my hand here, my hand on the shoulder, hip on the shoulder. I turn this way, step 1, step 2 to 3. But I think that the ultimate level of this is like Bruce Lee said, be water, right? Be water, be formless. Yeah. Just feel, just feel where the positioning points are. So you're not thinking, I'm going to put my hand on your hip and hand on your shoulder. No, you just go directly to the hip and shoulder because that's where the main controls are on the upper body and lower body. You just feel it. You just see the code.
Yeah.
You don't have to think anymore.
Yeah.
So if they have a butterfly hook, for example, to raise your stance, turn your knee in, crush with your hip, like your pocket, and at once. But you just feel it. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah, you understand the mechanics of of why you do certain movements versus like I have to follow step 1, 2, 3
Yes.
that I was taught.
Exactly.
Exactly. You can connect it all together and say, based on all these things I've learned, I can deduce in this situation, this is the right thing for me to do.
So-
I don't have that yet.
Yes. At first you need a plan,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm gonna use like this takedown and it fails, I'm gonna use that other takedown, and then I'm gonna pass the guard this way and it fails that way. I'm gonna use this guard pass, everything by the book, right? But it becomes like really structured,
Yeah.
right? So if your number 1 fails and then your number 2 fails and your number 3 fails, you don't have a number 4, and you'll be fretting instead of just flowing with it, right? So at first it's good to have a plan, but later you don't need that plan anymore. Yeah.
I'm curious what it was like back whenever, what was the class structure like at Carlos's gym, like in the early days? Like
It was the same as here.
is the exact
Really?
same? Yeah.
So do you
Same.
feel like that is informed? Because I've been curious before, just being at other gyms, you know, sometimes people do warm-ups or whatever, and then there's the infamous 1-2 clap that we have not done here until recently.
We didn't have the 1-2 clap back in the day. That's a fairly recent thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's picked up, and now I'm doing it too because, you know, the master does it. Who am I to not do it?
Right.
Everyone loves to clap. So we're doing the clap. I'm learning to do the 1-2 clap. The warm-ups, we had very few warm-ups, and I have 0 warm-ups. So because I think that for the kids, yes, because the kids are not going to be doing push-ups at home or sit-ups at home. They just won't, right? They don't want to. They want to play Ninja Turtles on their
play
Nintendo.
their video
Look at
games
me.
like you.
Yeah,
Exactly. You know.
So, but adults, we're adults and we're responsible to do our push-ups, your cardio, your lifting, everything on your own time. Exactly. On
I'm
your own
really
time.
responsible.
Oh,
to
yeah,
do
you do
all
that
of
all the
those
time,
things,
don't you?
Roberto.
You gotta do it.
Catch me at home doing my push-ups.
You gotta do it because it translates to the next day and you're gonna suffer
I
if
know
you don't.
you're right.
So, but if you fill the class with warm-ups, that to me is just filler. It's a waste of time because you know you're responsible for your own body. At that time that you're filling up with warm-ups, you could be filling it with techniques.
Yeah.
My time as a human being, as we know it now, is limited. You know, so I want to like squeeze my brain. If I could like take a cable and upload all my information into your cerebral cortex, I would, right? But I can't do that right now. So I try to fill as much of the class with techniques so I can pass you all my knowledge. And if I can pass you my style, and you can make my style yours and expand on it and digest it and make it your style, then I have succeeded. So that's why I try to teach as much of technique as I can in that 1 hour that we do technique, and not fill it with like, you know, fluff, like sit-ups and push-ups and you know, and shrimping, and go shrimp at home. Yeah.
Do some shrimps and eat some shrimps.
Yeah, there you
Get the
go.
protein.
Yeah.
So what about like it's kind of a new wave we've been experimenting with at the gym, the ecological approach, like kind of doing mini games that are very specific to the technique or to a position. Like what's your view on that? Have you been liking that? Do you think the results are pretty good when we've been doing it at the gym?
You know, I like it because there's some people that are lazy, man.
Yeah.
And they they will roll 2 rounds and just jet.
Yeah.
And no matter what you tell them, they will keep doing it. I can tell them, you know, you gotta roll more and get your cardio up, man, because you're looking kind of crappy. Yeah. You know, you know. So you need to roll more. I mean, if you wanna roll two times today, 3 tomorrow, and keep pushing that wall, because you hit that wall until you're dead tired, and next time you can go 1 more, right? But people like refuse. They refuse. So these eco drills are good because it forces them to like at least get some rolling in, even if it's like just like situational. At least they're getting some cardio in which translates, and also they get to like perform the moves in a life scenario, which, you know, so they'll remember better. So I really like it. I really like it.
Yeah.
If I didn't like it, I wouldn't incorporate it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been enjoying it. I like doing it a lot. Now, moving on, like, so you get your brown belt, you get to your black belt.
Yeah.
Was there a big ceremony? Like, what happened? What was it like when you got your black belt under Carlos?
Well, my dad flew in.
Yeah.
My dad flew in from Peru, and it was very emotional. I had to talk, and I dedicated the belt to my dad. He got very emotional. Yeah, very much. He passed away in 2015. So, and when he passed away and we buried him, I put my gi and my belt on his coffin and said,
my
Lord,
goodness.
So it was he took a part of me. So it's,
Yeah, for sure.
you know. So but he loved me very much. But he came over all the way from Peru, and I dedicated it to him. And even Carlos said that was very emotional moment.
So did he train at all? Is there any training at all?
My dad did some judo
Yeah.
back home. He got like to brown belt or something.
Oh,
like
really?
That, and he just,
That's still accomplishment. Yeah.
but it was something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
It was funny. When I went with Seth, I took Seth to Peru, and he was like 8 years old. But he'd be training with me since he was like 3 years old, like a baby, even less because we like wrestle around, right? So Seth is my son, by the way, and my dad was like, "Okay, let's see what you got," and Seth put him on a triangle. And he was choking my dad. I was like, let go of your grandpa, man. Let go of your abuelo. You're killing him. He was like, he was turning purple. The old man, he was turning purple. I had like to pry the kid off.
oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, Seth having a triangle. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man, so I'm guessing it was a pretty big ceremony. I mean, based off what you said, huge ceremony. Your dad flies in.
Yeah.
Then what does it look like after that? You said you wanted to be like the master splinter,
Yes.
right? Of jiu-jitsu and of your own school.
Yes.
So did you immediately branch off and start looking to do your own thing, or
No, I stuck around like a couple of years still training with him. And then I told Carlos I want to open my own school. So he told me, great. And so I entered an affiliation with him. And of course, I moved as far as I could from him, so I wouldn't step on his toes, right? I wouldn't step on his toes. So, and that's it. But I always went to visit him and train with him once a week. And I still do. I go every Thursday, and I train with him every Thursday.
Yeah.
Unless he's on a seminar or whatever. But if he's on a seminar, I'm there. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know you went that frequently.
Yeah,
That's
every Thursday I'm
awesome.
there.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that till like maybe 6 months ago. And I was like, dang.
And every time I go, I learn something new.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
he like
awesome.
improves my game every time. We go for the little details, and it's like a small class, like some black belts and me, and he like pays attention to my game, and he like improves me every time. He finds like little things that I can just improve. So yeah, he's like the man. I always said about Carlos, he doesn't do jiu-jitsu, he does magic.
Yeah.
The guy is a wizard. The guy's
Really?
a wizard of jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Man, like I can't. My little jujitsu brain can't even compute someone teaching you something
I
because
know.
like
Same.
I feel like that's one thing Tracy said in the episode is like you always have an answer, a good answer for every question we have, and she made the comment like, and if you don't have one right away, you will have one. You know.
If I'm an artificial intelligence, he's artificial super intelligence. He's like way ahead.
Yeah, that's crazy to even imagine.
I know.
That's super cool.
No, I love him with all my heart, and I hold him in such admiration.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Carlos is the best.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, to have someone that you look up to that much that has like really transformed and molded you is like super special.
Yeah,
I mean,
after my dad, he's been a father to me.
Yeah.
And I spent one-on-one, like if we add all the moments and like all the hours I spent with him one-on-one, I probably spend more time with him than my own dad.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's that much.
Yeah, for sure.
So I hold him in really, really high regard, not only in jiu-jitsu, but he's taught me about life, and he's given me purpose.
Yeah.
I admire him so much. Master Carlos is the boss.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was cool having him here whenever he did a seminar here. That was really cool. So that takes us into like you get your 2 years in from getting your black belt, you get your own school. So what are those first few years like? I mean, I got some friends that are recently new to owning a gym. Like, what kind of difficulties were there? What kind of crazy stories were there? I'm sure there's some
the
pretty
gym
crazy
invasions.
The gym invasion,
The dojo,
Like dojo
dojo
storming?
storming. Oh man.
Oh yeah, I wanted to know about
Yeah, we would get guys in white belts that come in, and like try to like roll with me hard, and I remember one told me, "I want you to go all out with me," and so I went all out with the guy, right? And put him on his head, right? And then he like walked off the mat and outside the school, and I was like, "What the heck?" Then he walked back in, and he told me, "No one has ever beaten me like that ever." And then he walked out again and never came back. And then I saw him in a tournament, and he was a brown belt.
No.
Yeah.
He put on a white belt
Yeah.
just to.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, dude, yeah. And I had also purples and that brown belts come
Oh
in
my
like that.
goodness. Can you tell when they're not actually white belts?
I mean,
when they
for
did
sure.
that?
Can you?
Like, were you?
Yeah, no joke. Come on.
Come on, yeah.
Can you tell when a guy has like 5 years more experience than a white belt?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's fair.
But that hasn't happened after I become established. But at the beginning, it happens all the time.
Really?
New schools with new
crazy.
instructors, especially when they're young. Man, they want to
Think they
prove
still
themselves.
do that? Do you think?
I don't know, but back in the day, yeah, probably. But back in the day, they were just
interesting.
disgusting about it. They would just wear a white belt and not say anything,
Yeah.
and just come in. I had judokas do that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then later tell me, yeah, I'm a black belt in judo and this and that. And we're-
Just testing you.
I was like, okay.
So, man, that's pretty crazy. Those first few years, I mean, were there some like growing pains with getting members in, or was it like you just put a sign up, people just start coming?
No, back in the day, we have to advertise in the yellow pages. There was no social media. So it was a pain.
Yeah.
People, like, I had like this inflatable animals for the kids to play. Like, well, because I put this like obstacle course, like labyrinths with like blocks. Now we use blocks and like inclines, and I put plush animals as like danger things, you know. But back in the day, it was the prototype days where I was testing my ideas. So I started with inflatable animals. So the place looked like a pool supply store. Right?
Yes, we heard.
Looked like a pool supply. And then the animals would just die, and I was patching them. So I was like, this is for the birds, man. That's freaking ridiculous. So then we moved into the plush animals. And the plush animals will explode because the kids just rip them.
Yeah.
So I tried dog toys.
That's
And that works much better because they resist more.
Yeah.
Right.
And they look good, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of experience with kids classes when you were training under Carlos Machado, or was that like brand new when you
Carlos-
started a school and figuring out like
Carlos-
how are we going to do this?
Yeah, Carlos hated the kids' classes. He didn't want to do it.
Okay.
He didn't want to do it. So he asked me to do it, but I couldn't do it at the time because during the mornings I would go to Vince Tamura's, and after that I would teach in a place called Gym Kids.
Okay.
Gym Kids in Flower Mound, and we were three. Actually, one was Rob Abels, who has his own school, the Marcelo Garcia. It was him. It was me, and the program director was a Taekwondo woman, she was great. I learned a lot from her, and there was a judo guy also. And the classes were immense. It was a huge place, and the first floor was gymnastics. Second floor was the martial arts.
Okay.
And that's where they had all this gymnastic equipment, all right? So the woman made like stations with the gymnastic equipment.
Okay.
Something, because I came from a traditional school where traditional martial arts where you like use like a hardwood floor and hitting the makiwara, which is that, you know, like the wooden poles and stuff. So it was like hard stuff. But she was using the gymnastics stuff and like making stations and like giving them like team names, and that like blew my mind. You know? It was like, so I started thinking about that, and then I thought, man, what if we make like an adventure, right? Make it like an adventure, and make it like a maze with all this equipment. And that's not enough, so I started thinking, what if we get like animatronics with like dinosaurs and stuff? I started just like, you know, pipe dream, right?
Dreaming big, yeah.
But that's too expensive, obviously, so what is the second best?
Yeah.
You know, use, I don't know, inflatables or plush animals. So we didn't do that then, but my mind was already working in those, you know, and in every school, how you maintain a school is with the kids' classes. Adults, you know, keep the lights on and everything. But if you want to survive, you need the kids. And for the kids to stay, they gotta like it, you know. So, and kids don't think like adults, they think like kids, right? So if you teach the class like for adults, they're gonna get bored. Unless out of 10 kids, 2 are gung-ho and want to like, you know, compete and they diet, but this is 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like your daughter, she's like those, she's special, you know? She has a warrior spirit and she wants to go. But for one of that, you got 9 that don't.
Right.
They just want to go play Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So you gotta appeal to them
Yeah.
and make it like a game, like an adventure where they look at that. And then you sneak in the jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And then the jiu-jitsu, like Tracy teaches, like, like chomp with like the shark and stuff. Instead of telling me, grab his wrist, no, the shark chomps the fish, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And it keeps them thinking, because kids think in cartoons.
Yeah.
When you grow older, you become more practical, more colder,
Yeah.
But kids live in a fantasy world. It's something that we should not lose.
Right.
Because, imagination is so important. And that's how you make your new moves and everything, imagination. But that's the best for me, to teach the kids and to get them engaged and for them to like it. If not, they're going to be, bribing their chauffeur to make them run in the park.
To let them run around in the park and roll in the dirt.
Exactly. So,
hilarious.
you gotta make it appealing. Yes.
Man, yeah. So you get your kids program established. You come up with some really cool ideas. What about your adult program? I mean, you said it kind of stayed the same. Was there any small adjustments that you made as you owned a school and maybe went from one location to the next?
I kept it as close to Carlos taught it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as Carlos taught it back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I was raised in traditional martial arts, and I like to keep it traditional. You see, I don't even wear a rash guard.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, we didn't wear rash guards.
Yeah.
So like I refuse, right?
Yeah.
Even when I go to Carlos, his policy is to wear a rash guard, and I'm sneaking by right now. I'm sneaking by. I know one day he's gonna lay the law one day, but right now I'm sneaking by and not wearing the rash guard. So I hope he doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, right. We'll chop this part out.
Yeah. Edit. But yeah, I keep it very traditional, like the old ways, and I think I learned well that way, and I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. And I have a suggestion box, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
You do.
I have a suggestion box that says, "Are you not entertained?" It has a gladiator. You're not entertained. So if I urge everyone, if they don't want to, if they're shy about telling me, just put the thing. I won't look at the cameras. It's anonymous. I promise I won't look at the cameras. And just put your suggestion. And if it's a good suggestion, I'll follow it. I mean, I'm open to change my ways if it's good.
Yeah.
I'm not stubborn either.
Yeah.
Like for example, the eco drill.
Yeah.
Look at the clapping. I refused for a long time.
I know.
But you know what? Get on with the times, old man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, for his birthday, I'm gonna give him a rash guard.
I know. I'll wear like a bandana.
A rash guard with my face on it. Like one of the kids, Dane, he has a rash guard that he got that has me on the back flexing, has Darian on the front. It's hilarious.
It's pretty crazy.
But no, that is really funny. No, I mean I used to not wear rash guard for a long time either because I just hated having the rash guard on. I wasn't used to it.
But then you would come home and complain about like gi burn on your skin, and I'm like, that's why
just
you
gets so
wear a
hot,
rash
man.
guard.
Yeah, and it also gets really hot.
It just get hot. It's like it just gets hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just used to
I
it.
have to wear
Yeah.
it.
I'm curious about what your mentality, like what you thought a black belt was as a white belt, versus what you think a black belt.
A god.
Like how
A
different.
god of war.
Yeah, especially now because you have
Untouchable.
such a high expectation and wanting to be Master Splinter.
You know those kung fu movies where the master with the eyebrows.
Yes.
And
Kill Bill.
Like Kill Bill,
Right.
like Pai Mei from Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Untouchable, the touch of death.
Yeah.
He looks at you, you're dead.
Yeah.
That was a black belt to me.
Yes.
Really?
Wow.
Because back then we didn't have much black belts either. We were all like all white belts. Or when we first got our first purple, it was like, wow, man, we have a purple. Yeah. It was Carlos and us.
Wow.
So yeah.
So what about your view now of a black belt? Like what does it mean to you to see a black belt, another black belt?
There's black belts and black belts.
Yeah.
There's black belts and black belts.
Yeah.
You just
Do
gotta.
you feel like you are now Master Splinter? Have you achieved Master Splinter status?
I walk like
Roberto?
Master Splinter. You're my king. Yeah, I probably smell like Master Splinter too.
Yeah, but you definitely don't roll like Master
No,
Splinter.
you do not.
Oh my gosh. Which that actually kind of brings me by another thing I'm curious about. Like, around the gym, I feel like you're very known for your pressure. Like, you have insane pressure. Do you feel like the pressure that you use in your technique, is it more of technique, or is it like a how do I put it? Like a psychological aspect where you're just trying to physically, like you said, the battle of attrition, like physically pressure them down on the ground where they
You
just
haven't trained with Master Carlos, have you?
I haven't. I got to roll with him. No.
That's his stuff. That's all him. Pressure. Follow the hip. Control the shoulders. The shoulders are the hips of the arms, and the hips are the shoulders of the legs. Control those 2 points, and you got the guy done. And now, if you just put that bonus of moving their head around, you got the fight won. Yeah. But his game is pressure passing, and I studied it, and I just absorbed it.
I've always.
Go ahead. And I was gonna say, the thing is to dissect your instructor's style, but not copy it, because the copy will never be as good as the original.
For sure, yeah.
All right, because you have your own body type, your own upbringing, your own strengths and your own weaknesses, And if you copy the guy, you can be a good copy, but you'll never
be what he is.
You'll never be an equal.
Yeah.
So you have to make your own style according to your own body type and your own movements. Yeah. So that's the thing. I remember one guy training back in the day. A guy from out of town came in, was training with us, and he told me, everyone fights like Carlos, but you fight differently. Because I made it a point to adapt.
Yeah.
To adapt. Yeah. So that's my philosophy on copying. Don't copy. Just absorb the technique, digest it, and make it yours. Your own style. But that comes at the later belts. Usually a brown belt, you're already creating your own style.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've told my friends and my cousin who's come and cross trained here a few times that rolling with you reminds me of if I was rolling with a boulder and a ballerina, all in one.
That's how it feels. The master feels like that.
Because it feels like you really are dancing around me, but at the same time I'm being crushed the entire time.
Yeah.
The amount of.
I can relate. I can relate. Yeah. I've been there, man. I've been there.
Man, yeah. I know when we roll, I'm like, this is about to get intense because it's always a really hard. But I love it.
You just described how it feels all my jiu-jitsu career rolling with a master. Carlos. That's exactly how I would describe it. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
It's like a boulder coming at you. It's like you feel like Indiana Jones with the boulder coming at you, but there's no escape. So you just put your hands up like this, and it's like the coyote with the umbrella and the big boulder falling. Yeah, same deal. You're just waiting for it to happen. I mean, you can see it, but you can't stop it.
You still can't do
it. You can't stop it. It's like, that's how it feels.
Feeling.
Yeah.
So now that you've been teaching for so long, you wanted to become the master, but now you're
I'm not a master yet. I'm not a master yet. Thank you for everything, but I don't think I've achieved it just yet.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of room to grow. Yeah.
That's one thing we talked about with Tracy is I don't think you can ever master jiu-jitsu, especially the way it keeps changing in today's environment. Do you find?
But you can become a master of your style. Right?
Ooh.
And that's what I admire Carlos so much, because he has mastered his style.
Yeah.
Oh,
or nobody can quite teach the details and stuff that he knows on the way the game he plays. Yeah, for sure, I can totally see that. Yeah. But in the sense of what you and Tracy are talking about, you'll never know it all. You'll never have.
No, and whoever tells you that is lying to you.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a fraudster. No, you can't. No. Yeah. And I lose respect for teachers that if you ask them a question and they try to BS you around and teach you something totally ineffective, I respect them more to tell you, you know what, I don't know. Yeah. But you know what, let's find out together. And then you start drilling and deconstructing. For example, I have students that bring me stuff from YouTube. It's just crazy crap, monkey doing backflips kind of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And they tell you, okay, what do you do? How do you do this? And I'm like, dude, I don't freaking know, man. Let's look at the video together, right? Let's look at the video together. And how do you defend? I don't freaking know, man. Let's look at the video and let's deconstruct the position. And once you start breaking it apart, because the movie is like building Legos. How do you break the Lego apart? You just disassemble it. You uninstall it. So same thing. You learn the move, and then to counter, you uninstall it. So but if I told the guy, show me the video, or told me how you do this, I'm like, yeah, do it this way, and it's completely wrong. I would lose total respect from instructor, and I've seen it happen, and it's just awful. Yeah. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And learn it.
Yeah.
Learn it, and get with your student and work on it together.
That's
And
more
that-
respectful anyways. Like,
Yes.
you get way more respect that way.
And that creates more of a bond with your student.
yeah.
And your student will respect you, will respect you more for it. Not lying, be honest.
Yeah. You were going to say something a second ago. Remember?
No.
Well, I have a question. You've competed, you've coached,
Yeah.
and you have your own gym. So
Yes.
I think we kind of already know
That's what I was
where
gonna say.
Oh,
where
what it
you
was.
kind of land
Yeah.
in this, but like, where do you feel like you have your fire of those three? Like a gym owner, the coach, or the athlete that competes? Like, where do you feel like you find like your most,
Like
find yourself,
fulfillment.
most fulfillment in?
Yeah.
I think I'm a great competitor.
And do you think it's changed over the years? Like, where you,
No,
are you the competitor since day one to where you're at now?
no, because my opponent has not changed.
Yeah.
Because how I don't compete with other people, I compete with myself.
Yeah.
Right. So this is how it works. I create a clone of myself mentally. So I say, for example, me 3 months ago, a complete clone. If I fought him right now, me of 3 months ago, who will win? You know, if I'm honest, I'm like, man, I gained some weight. I'm not training. That guy would beat me.
Yeah.
I need to get better. But if I can confidently say I will beat him, I will beat myself from 3 months ago, it's going okay.
Yeah.
So competition with other people is good. It gets you better and everything. But those people, you cannot continue measuring yourself with other people because things happen. They can get an injury, they
Yeah.
can stop training, or you can stop training, but or they can suddenly get much better.
Yeah.
But it's better if you like test yourself with yourself, because that opponent will always be around, and it will keep you straight. It will always is the measuring bar that you want to keep around. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear you say that, just knowing that Tracy's been, learning from you this whole time. And I feel like I hear that comment from her all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Or like about other people too. She'll be like, you 6 months ago, like you would kill the version of you from 6
Yeah.
months ago. So it's cool to hear
Yeah,
that
so-
yes, you might see yourself very much as a competitor, but it's so clear and obvious what a good teacher you are as
Well,
well,
I
and how
appreciate
you're
that.
like
Yeah, because you can
instilling
see
that in your
the
students.
blueprint of Roberto
Yes.
on Tracy. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I see Tracy and Roberto's blueprint on you. I see.
I know.
It's like Tracy's.
I
little,
get that. I'll be rolling and I'll do something and somebody will be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that had Tracy written all over it." It's so
So like I said,
so cool.
So competition is a big deal for me, but competition with myself is a big deal. That's why I hit the gym and I hit the hit training and rolling and everything, because I want to be better than myself.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't pick some dude like a black belt from Carlos. I want to beat him, hit, and then tomorrow he gets hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Where did my measuring stick went?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid, But I'm always around.
Yeah.
I'm always around and I'm always there. And I like to teach by example. So I roll with my students, and I'm always in shape. They've never ever seen me out of shape, ever, and that's something I'm proud of. And the way to teach is through example.
Yeah.
Through example, definitely. Yeah, I will never ask my students to do something I can't do.
Yeah.
Never. So yeah, if I can't do a move, I'm not gonna ask him to do it.
Yeah.
I need to do them good. If I'm not gonna ask a guy to get in shape when I can't even see my belt because my gut is hanging
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah.
No, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says a lot. I mean, as a leader too. I mean, it's important.
Oh, of course.
And throughout your whole career of doing jiu-jitsu, someone who's been as dedicated, anybody who's as dedicated to the sport that they're in, there's always going to be ups and downs. Any time that you went through any ups and downs you've ever had, has there ever been a moment where you felt like quitting or like hanging it up?
Never.
I imagine that would be the answer.
Never. The thing is this, but if you don't have the mentality, you will feel it. The climb for jiu-jitsu is like a little roller coaster, right? You start climbing, you start going up, 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 and then you hit a plateau. Okay, so you go straight along, and then you hit the plateau and you get depressed because you're not advancing. So you start going down, all right, and then you like gather your thoughts and gather your nerves and say, no, this cannot be happening. So you train more, you study more, you work out more, you diet better, and you start going up again.
Yeah.
And then you hit a plateau, and then you get depressed and start going down, and you put extra effort and you go up again.
Yeah.
And then the plateau, like that. But it's always an upward climb, but with that little downward slope sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you are aware of the pattern, you don't despair.
Yeah.
But if you get caught in the downward depression, then you say, oh, everything is lost. This sucks. I'm gonna quit, man.
Yeah.
No. That's the time to shoot straight up by changing something.
Yeah.
Something's not working. See, that's when you have to like look back and look at the clone of yourself. What was working 3 months ago that you were in the steady climb?
Yeah.
Oh, I was lifting more. I stopped lifting because I stopped lifting. No, I got to go back to lifting and lifting heavier, or get more reps in, or lift the same, and start researching more. And once you're aware of that little pattern, like I said, despair does not sit in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. I think it's easier when you come to that point where you realize like it's going to go like this
Yes.
a little bit, and when you accept that, then you can take the little dips in stride and keep going.
Patience, discipline. Patience and discipline.
Where do you think in all the belt colors that someone kind of figures that out in your experience? Like where people, I feel like I've figured that out, like kind of introspective, and I'm just a blue belt. I'm not even very far along. And I feel like, and now that's not necessarily outside of my jiu-jitsu game, like, but what I found in the beginning, I would hit those plateaus. Yeah. And a lot of times it'd be like I'm trying a particular, like a guard that I'm like trying to get better at, and everyone's figured it out at the gym. Right. So they're killing it, and like I start to get bored, like frustrated, So then it forces me to change it up. And so I learned that pattern that of constantly changing, and which added to my game and made me grow. Do you feel like that's something that happens pretty quick as a blue belt, or is this something that usually happens later, or is it just like sporadic for everybody?
You're a blue belt. The thing is that the hardest belt to break is the blue belt. That's why everyone quits, right? Not the purple, the brown, blue. That's the hardest one to crack. That's why most people abandon it because they don't recognize that.
Yeah.
Or they feel like they've accomplished their self-defense goals.
Yeah.
I know enough to fight in the gas station.
Yep. I got out a white belt.
Yeah, I got enough.
Good.
No, I'm a superhero up there, so I got enough.
Yeah.
But you got other guys that is not enough. Now you gotta perfect the art. Now you don't do it just to get in a fight out there because it's ridiculous. You can beat anybody out there. It's like beating on a child if you fight an untrained person. It's like ridiculous and unfair. But now you're training to fight guys that are in this, in what we do. And yes, blue belt is the breaking point for many people. Yeah. If you decipher that at blue belt, you'll be okay. Yeah. If you crack blue belt, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a less chance you'll quit. But it's blue belt is the make or break for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think maybe part of that goes to your whole philosophy about competition with self. Like, what is your actual motive for doing it in the first place? And if your motive is to learn and progress and do better and be better than you were yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, then that's enough to keep pushing through.
Blue belt is the edgelord belt, where they like wear. Well, back in the day, they wore all these bad boy patches.
Yes.
Right, and they like the tap out gear. Bad for the sport. And everyone's like, such a macho man, and everyone's fight. But that's where people lose hope too. Yeah. Like they burn real fast.
Yeah.
They're like a match. They're not a steady flame. But if you make it, and if you realize what you realized, you'll make it to black.
Yeah.
Or you'll fail at blue.
I literally cannot see myself quitting. I'm the type of personality I am. Is I don't have little hobbies. I have full on dedication for many years.
And I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I jiu-jitsu is like, I've only had 3 things I've ever been that obsessed with. Yeah. And I did all those for a very, very long time.
Then pull up a chair and get comfortable because this is a long ride. Plan. This is a ride, man.
Definitely not backing out. So that kind of makes me think, like, when you have a student that is earning their black belt and they've put in their time, they've obtained the skill, and it's time for their black. What are some things that you kind of hope that you bring them through all the years of training with you on the mat and off the mat? Like, what are the things that you hope that you've passed on and have taken with them since?
Discipline, dedication, stay fit, pass my teachings to others. Which is also very selfish of me because I have this notion of wanting to live forever. Yeah. Right? So I know I'm not immortal, but my style is.
Yeah, your
So,
legacy.
exactly. So as long as my style is passed to you, and you make it part of your style, I will live in you and your students forever, right? So I want that. Right? So I get something out of it too, and I'm profiting. So I live through all of you, and that's important to me.
Yeah.
Now, how it's used, my style is important too.
Yeah.
You got my name on your back, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, so
Your
it's very
reputation to
important.
uphold.
Like, yes.
Yeah, that's why it's so important for me and the kids and everyone that competes when we go and we compete. It's like, you're representing our gym. I have the conversation with our kids all the time.
And I mean, you can be here or go to China or wherever, or Timbuktu, and the first thing people will ask you when you tell them I do jiu-jitsu is, who is your instructor?
Yeah.
Who is your master?
100%.
Who taught you?
Yeah.
And then if you do crappy, they're gonna say your master sucks.
Yeah.
And that's can't be.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, I can only imagine, you know, I'm like trying to put my shoes, fit into your shoes, and like someone talking bad about my jiu-jitsu, you don't want that to reflect badly at all. And you're like, it's a different perspective that I haven't really thought of. I mean, I thought about it a little bit, but as I'm sitting here really thinking about it, like, you put all this time and effort into people, you know, and you hope that they can go out and display the highest level that you showed them, you know.
As much as they can display, because some people have a lot of like their own weaknesses, you know, and you can't expect all of them to be a Mr. Mark Kerr super, you know. So, no, you can't. You can't like expect them to be like all buff, you know, taking down people and putting them on their heads. Some people just don't have that, but they do have the dedication of making it all the way to black belt. You know, so they put in the time, they put the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears, the injuries and everything, but they're not as good as you would like them to be. But they're as good as they can be, they themselves, and that matters.
Yeah.
You know, because they beat their own clone.
Yeah.
You know, they're beating their own persona, their own weaknesses, and that is a huge part of jiu-jitsu too. It's not only beat the opponent in front of you; it's the opponent within. And if they conquer themselves, that is black belt material for them. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. Everyone's different and has their own inner struggles to fight through, you know.
That's why when brown belts are going to be black belts, I usually give them a test. For example, if they're overweight, lose weight. It's not as easy, man. Some people being overweight for like all their life. So, but they gotta do it. You know, improve. Like some people, maybe they're good takedown artists, they pass and everything. Okay, now I want you to improve your open guard. And they're like, holy crap, you know. So they're not gonna get black belt until I'm not gonna tell them, hey, you know what, you gotta be champion of you know, IBJJF, like worlds. Some people don't want to do it and don't have it in them, but I make them improve their weakness. So they have to break their own mold. And that's a good test that I set up on my students.
Well, we're kind of at the back end of the story. You know, you've owned a gym for a while now, and it kind of leads us to here, where we're at now in Keller. What kind of, like, what does the future hold for you? What do you think? What do you hope that the future brings for your school? You know, whether it be just more members, new people, new relationships, anything on the horizon that you're looking forward to.
I want to keep
the future.
I want to keep the nature of the school as it is. I think we have a great
culture.
Yes, a great culture. Everyone is helpful to each other. We don't have those ladders and you know, bad feelings and bad intentions, and you know, everyone helps each other. You know, people ask questions. You know, and the upper belts help. That's the nature I want to foment here. I don't want you know, ultimate fighters just walking down the hallways, shoulder bumping people. You know, no, that's not it. You know, we're a team, and this is our laboratory. Here's where we're going to test our techniques so we can use them outside in tournaments or maybe in the street or wherever. Yeah, but we need to have that culture that is, you know, very very strong.
No, that's really good.
I like that.
And then just kind of finish it off, a couple little things. I'm curious, do you have any hot takes? We may have already touched on one.
Yeah, the mainly one of the controversial ones is the warm-ups.
Yeah.
The warm-ups. I'm strongly against warm-ups. Yeah.
But I think that makes sense hearing all of the other things that you've said, because you place a lot of priority and emphasis on like personal accountability for doing your part.
Exactly.
So I mean, that makes perfect sense for you to say that you take your own personal responsibility for your physical upkeep and well-being and the things that you need to do to be in shape to come here and learn.
I'm here to teach you arm bars, not to push you to do burpees.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense having heard all of the other things you've had to say.
Yeah. Well, to finish off, I'm going to give you, like, spit off some quick fire questions, and you just, like, whatever comes to your mind, like, right off the bat. It's going to kind of be like a either or thing I'm going to say. So, like, for instance, to start it off, I'd say gi or no gi?
Gi.
Gi, okay. Closed guard or open guard?
Closed.
Closed guard. Arm bars or chokes?
Arm bars.
Rash guard or no rash guard?
Nope. No.
All right. Leg locks or upper body submissions, I guess?
Well, depends what you have.
Yeah? Heel hooks or arm bars?
Depends what they give you.
So it depends. It depends.
Depends what they give you.
Mount or back control?
Mount.
Mount over back control. I think I would prefer back.
I know you would.
I just feel like with the bigger guys, it's so much harder for me to stay on top because they're just bench pressing me. So if I get to where they have zero weapons and I'm behind them,
you just gotta lift more and get bigger like Roberto. He was teeny tiny and now he's not anymore.
One day, many years from now, when I get my black belt from Roberto, he's gonna say, "You gotta lift more. You gotta go lift more."
That's what he's gonna say. That's how you get good.
But about the mount thing.
Yeah.
Like Russell Crowe said in The Gladiator, I like to look at my enemy in the eye. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So no, but the thing is, I was really light, but when I opened my school, I had these freaking monsters coming in, and I was getting injured.
Yeah.
Right? So because they would train hard. I mean, I would train hard at Carlos, but I kept myself light for competition, and I still would get hurt. But once I opened my school, I wasn't competing as much, and these monsters were like hurting me. I would get like football players, like coming in, and they're immense. I'm 5'8", man. So so these huge dudes will come in, and I would train and everything, but I would go home feeling it.
Yeah.
But when I gained, and I said I'm just too light, because they would like grab me and ragdoll me, and I would have to spring back like a freaking jaguar.
Yeah.
But I already took the hit.
Yeah.
But when I gained some weight, I felt different.
Really? That's kind of how I feel. I mean, I feel like one day eventually I'm going to have to put on some muscle. I just don't like lifting.
I mean, if you're competing actively at your weight, it's understandable.
Yeah.
But if you're not competing as much, gain some weight and you'll feel the difference.
Yeah,
you'll be injured less and you'll have more control too.
A lot of your story of being small and then when you own a gym, I would like to one day own my own gym as well.
Right.
And I will fall into that same category.
You're going to feel that too.
Yeah, I'm going to have to lift, so.
Yes. But you have to like train with the big dudes every single day and go home like freaking licking your own wounds, man. And you're like, next day you're going to do it again and again. And they only have one speed because they all want to prove to you how tough they are by beating you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have some dudes, the bad thing is you got some guys that they don't want to learn from you. They want to beat you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love the students that want to learn from me, but I know that some just are here to like prove themselves and beat me.
Yeah.
So, and when they go hard. So if I'm light, you're going to break me.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
For sure. I'm not kidding. The time I saw you pick up Elric from closed guard twice in a row, man, that man is so huge, and you deadlifted him, fell, and went back to your knees, understandably, because he's a giant, and then you stood back up with him and broke his closed guard. I was like, God, that was nuts. Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to pass guard. Just bring him right up, stand up right.
I was just like, God, you got some legs.
Yeah, the best way to pass guard is standing up.
Yeah.
So start doing your squats, man.
Well, on that note, Roberto, I appreciate you for allowing us to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
It's been great, really, truly. So, guys, that is Weslee Weighs In. I'm Wesley.
I'm Bailey.
And
I'm
that is
Roberto right here.
Roberto. And again, we appreciate it. Thank you, Roberto.
Thank you.